Yeah, yeah. I have to say, I miss your mouth.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I tell you what, you can call me anytime and I'll fix that for you.
It says we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh,
There went Janet. She's gone.
Janet, you're gonna have to hold still
Why?
because you're making me dizzy.
I can't. When I'm on the phone, Sonia, I get up and talk. I make beds. I fold clothes. I do everything.
Well, you're on
Oh.
video too now.
I wouldn't do that in this meeting.
Oh,
I can't imagine what that discussion was
Calm
about.
down, get it settled.
go on. Go. We have a new member. Is that Charlie?
No.
Hello, Charlie.
Oh, do I have my? No.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Good afternoon.
Don't act so happy.
This is precisely the place I wanted to be this afternoon.
Exactly.
hi, Charles.
How are you?
I'm doing great now that you're on board.
Though I must say you're the last person I expected to see on TV.
Especially in this format.
Especially. Are we expecting many people today?
I haven't gotten too many phone calls, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, unfortunately we will.
Well, I did get some, but mostly just asking questions about the application. It didn't seem like they were planning on attending. But
So will everybody that's attending be on video where we'll see their faces, or because I'm on an iPad, if I get a bunch of, would there be a bunch of different faces on here?
we're gonna promote the applicants to panelists. So that's what you guys are right now as panelists at the time of their
Okay.
application. So we'll only be adding one additional person, but I'm
Okay.
going to be sharing my screen for the PowerPoint. So you're probably going to mostly be seeing the PowerPoint, and then you'll probably just see one or two people and you'll just scroll through.
Okay.
Michaela, I've lost my camera.
We can still see you. You can't see us?
No,
Are you on a laptop or phone?
no, I'm on phone.
Did your phone just go all black or?
The screen is black, but it's got, it just says that my video is stopped.
Probably your internet connection, Janet.
Could be. It's odd that we can still see you though.
Yeah.
We can definitely still hear you.
Aaron, let's be nice.
No technical difficulty is going to stop that.
You all are mean.
You taught us well.
You can't get to
Payback
it.
is bad, guys and girls.
So I assume when it says live on YouTube recording, that means we already are on.
Yep, we're recording and we're live streaming. So I think you guys are all set to start whenever you're ready.
All right. The Scott County Board of Adjustments special meeting for May 7th will begin. If I can get approval of the March 5th, 2020 minutes, please.
I will approve the March 5th, 2020 minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those approve or say agree, please acknowledge.
Agree or approve.
Thank you. And then we'll go to swearing in. Charlie, are you ready to swear in?
The last meeting we had, I swore them as they approached since we couldn't get
Okay,
everybody in all at once. So is that still the way we're doing it, Michaela?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it for now. So,
Okay, so we'll do that each time as we come up.
okay.
okay. Then Michaela, do you want to show the PowerPoint? Is that what you want to do now?
Yeah, I'll start sharing my screen here.
Okay.
All right. Are you guys able to see my PowerPoint here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. I just briefly want to go over before we got into old and new applications, how anyone in the public can comment on an application. So the chair is going to ask anyone in attendance if they would like to speak on the application. That will happen after staff goes through the application, and then the applicant gets a chance to answer any questions and explain what they're looking to do. So at this time, if anyone is looking to comment on an application, there's the raise the hand function on either your Windows or Mac or on your phone. You'll just need to hit that raise hand function, and our host, Matt Summers, will see it, and he'll be able to unmute your mic. And then at that point, you'll be able to communicate with the board members and discuss any concerns or questions you may have. So, all right, I'll let it go back to you, Kim.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Your PowerPoint slide still
It's
up.
what?
Your PowerPoint slide is still on the screen?
Yep, it should still be on the screen. Are you not seeing it?
Yeah, I can see it now. Okay, so then we have old application S 2019-42 for Corki Withrow's landscape.
Yep, I have not received any new information from the applicant on this application. As directed by the board, I did send a letter after the March meeting stating that if he didn't get any additional information to staff before the next meeting, which turned out to be this meeting, that you guys would be dismissing the application. So like I said, I haven't heard from him since that letter, so I don't have any additional information for you guys.
So in this instance, Charlie, would we have to motion to postpone indefinite, or how do we handle this?
This is how many postponements, Michaela? Hadn't it been at least 3?
It's been at least 3. I would say he initially came back in November, maybe. It's been quite a while since he's been on the docket, and we've asked for detailed plans and for him to go to the review committee for the watershed, and he hasn't done either. So that's why we've been waiting. And
I would suggest then, Kim, that we ask for a motion to either continue or to dismiss the application since he's not cooperated. And then I would suggest the motion actually be to dismiss the application. Or I guess it's probably better just to say a motion to deny the application.
Okay.
Hey, Charlie, from me, just one quick question on a liability issue that comes into mind. if the applicant comes back and has been unable to get people to come out to look at his plans due to the current situation, does that cause us an issue with liability standpoint? Because I'm not sure the board would have come out.
No, sir, it wouldn't have. And while I understand your point, obviously he had plenty of time before all these difficulties arose. But regardless, let's assume that does happen, that is the case, then he can always reapply at that point, concurrent with his reapplication, to ask that any additional fees be waived. That would come to you to decide that. So if he showed you good cause, then you could not only go ahead and hear his application, but you could waive any additional fees. If he can't come up with good cause, then he's been denied, and that's the end of it.
Okay, so we do have a disclaimer in case something happens then.
Yes, sir, I think so.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that S-2020-11 be postponed indefinitely.
Now, is that postponed indefinitely or denied?
Not.
Denied, excuse me.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second it.
I'll second that.
Goodness gracious, I've never seen so much action.
All those in favor to deny?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. S 2019-42 has been denied.
Madam Chair, who made the second?
Well, it was like three of them.
Janet,
Janet or
Yes.
Sonia.
All right, Janet.
She speaks up the most. All right, go on to new applications. 2020-11. Natasha Kays is applying for a variance for front yard setback. Michaela, would you like to explain to us?
I would be happy to. All right,
Okay.
so this is S 2020-11. Natasha M. Kays is applying for a variance to reduce the front yard setback from 50 feet to 20.4 feet and the side yard setback from 50 feet to 21.2 feet for an addition at 186 Locust 4 Road, zoning A1. All surrounding properties are also zoned A1. You'll have to bear with me. For some reason, my PowerPoint is lagging a little bit. So I did bring some drawings. I did put some drawings up on here, so hopefully they show up in a minute. All right. So essentially what the applicant, there we go. What the applicant is looking to do is add a new addition on the existing building there. So I tried to blow it up on the right here, but you can see it's a 16 by 30 addition. So the existing building is already encroaching pretty significantly on the 50-foot setback. So the new addition won't increase that nonconformity. They're just looking to put it on the back there. And like I said, it'll be 21.2 feet away from the side and then 20.4 feet away from the front. This lot is an undersized lot. It only has 0.89 acres. Typically, the minimum lot size in the A1 zoning district is 5 acres. So the 50-foot setback is pretty significant for a lot of this size. In addition, with the existing legally non-conforming structure on the property, and then looking to add an addition on something that's already been there on an undersized lot, staff does feel that the variance is probably warranted without, having to move the entire existing structure there. And like I said, they're not looking to increase or encroach further upon the setback. So I am recommending approval of the variance. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions for me or.
Is the applicant on?
Oops. It did look like she was one of the attendees, so I think Matt is probably working now to bump her up to a panelist. It usually just takes a minute for it to happen, so we'll look for her to come on in a minute here.
Do any of y'all have questions?
Oh, what was that, Matt?
Oh, I was just going to say, she has been promoted to panelist. It looks like she just
Oh.
doesn't have her camera or mic on.
Okay. Let's see if Natasha, if you're there, if you're able to enable your mic, that way you can answer some questions if the board has any.
How you do that? Hit the mic.
I don't know how. Can you hear us?
He's doing that. If I can make just a point. Traditionally, what we do with these types of applications, if the new addition does not reduce the existing encroachment, we have either simply approved it or we basically said you don't need to be approved because you're not any closer than the existing encroachment. It almost seems to me if you approve the new distances, it's going to be a bit of a confusion because the existing building is already inside of those distances. So it might be a thing to consider to just approve the existing, not the new ones, the existing, because the new ones are already within that anyway. And that way the record is perfectly clear about what's been approved on that site.
All right. Are you all seeing her comments that she just can't figure out how to chat?
Yeah, she's there, but she can't figure out audio.
Right.
So can I ask a question? Do we as a board have any concern with septic system and or locations as far as the increasing the square footage in a small lot?
Not really, no.
Okay,
Septic systems,
okay.
locations and all that's health department. What
Oh,
we
right.
do with that
Exactly.
information on occasion is to see if the location of a system or proposed system precludes a certain setback. That is a grounds
Okay.
for us to approve an encroachment. But otherwise, where it goes and whatnot, no, that's not within our jurisdiction.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I just wanted to check because it's a pretty tight corner.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to make a motion just to approve the existing conditions, would we need to chat with her? Could we go ahead and move forward with that or?
I don't see any reason to. She can always, I guess, ask to readdress if in fact some question arose. I don't know what that would be. It seems to me perfectly reasonable to approve the existing ones and making note in the motion that the two new requested setbacks are in fact within the existing setbacks already on the existing building.
Do you have any questions?
Don't guess. I don't know if they can you hear us?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Natasha's stepfather, so this
And what's your name, sir?
will this get us the permit to build the addition? Because they said they won't issue the permit until y'all approve the setbacks.
That's
Yes,
true.
Yes, this will. Yes, this will.
All right, that's all I was wondering.
And what is his name? What is your name, sir?
Michael Owens.
Michael Owens. Okay, thank you.
Carla, you might have to go ahead and swear him in.
He just asked a question. We'll just leave it
Okay.
alone.
Okay. You'll still need to apply for a building permit, but
I've already done that. They
okay,
wouldn't give us an okay until we get this done.
okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll approve that we, I'll make a motion that we approve the existing conditions for S 2020-11.
I apologize to interrupt, but we haven't given any members of the public the opportunity to
Oh.
speak.
Oh, excuse us.
Following my leader.
Hey, I can't see them.
It looks like all the attendees are just applicants, so you're probably all set, but
All right. Shall we start again?
I'll move that we approve application S 2020-11 for the existing conditions, which will cover the new conditions.
Existing setbacks, which are within the requested setbacks. And I've already written it down, so you got to get it right.
We
Can she say
approve the
what you said?
existing setbacks which will cover the new setbacks. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
yeah, the existing ones are within the new ones. So
Right.
if we approve the existing ones, then everything within that is already approved.
So I'll make the motion, we approve the existing ones. Subject
And
to staff
again, noting
recommendation.
though that the new one, the requested ones are within that. I want both those
Right.
things in the motion.
Oh, okay. We approve the existing ones, noting that the requested ones are within the existing ones.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second. Good job, Sonia.
Can we put it to a vote, please, for this motion by Sonia? All those in favor say yes.
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 Do I have anyone oppose? Motion carries for S 2020-11 to approve the existing setbacks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on to S 2020-12 for Jeremy and Jessica Murphy for setback for a side yard.
Yep. All right. So Jeremy and Jessica Murphy are applying for a variance to reduce the side yard setback from 50 feet to 14 feet for residents at 188 JB Lear Lane, zoning A1. All surrounding properties are also zoned A1 agricultural. So you can see the site here. This is kind of my only zoomed out view of the whole project site. So you can see it's a pretty narrow lot. Sorry, there we go. All right. So the lot width on this project site is 153 feet. Typically in the A1 zoning district, we do have a minimum lot width at the building line of 250 feet. You can see on the aerial that there is an existing residence on the project site. The applicant is proposing to remove that existing residence and replace it with a new mobile home. I did speak to the applicant, and one of the reasons that they are proposing to put it in a similar location is because they want to be able to use the existing utilities and septic that's already on the project site. It's kind of hard to see here, but there are utility lines running along this southern boundary here that come out to the existing mobile home there. So let me see if I can go over. You can kind of see where the applicant is proposing to put the new mobile home. So they are proposing to put it 14 feet from the property line. The existing structure now at this corner is 7 feet. So they're 7.5 feet. So they are proposing to move it outward somewhat. And just based on where the utility lines are and being able to use the existing septic and utilities that's already, that they already have the lines out on the site. I do feel that this is the most feasible location on the project site for this residence. So I am recommending approval of the application based on the narrow lot width and the existing utilities being able to be accessed from that spot. So not sure if you guys have any questions for me.
Okay, Michaela, maybe I missed it. What about had they got approval from the health department on the septic system? Go over that.
I asked them, so there is an existing septic out there and the lot
Okay.
is 5 acres. It's not undersized, it's just narrow. I'm not sure why it's so narrow, because it was platted within the last 20 years, I believe. But I did ask if they had their septic inspected to see if it was still functioning, and I don't believe they have yet, but I'll let the applicant answer that question for you. So I'll see. I'm not sure if they've been promoted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we were actually in the process of dealing with the septic to see if we can still use the existing septic, and then the whole virus thing hit and it's just not moving. But it is being worked on, but we have not been approved yet.
If I might, sir, do you swear affirm what you're saying is the truth to the best of your information and belief?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Again, that's not particularly necessary to our consideration. As staff said, this allows the use of all the existing utilities if it's in good condition, he can use it. If not, he's gonna have to satisfy them as to where it goes. So either
Yeah,
way,
we'll do
our
what-
situation is satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay, Michaela, have you had any calls from any of the surrounding neighbors or anything?
I don't believe I got phone calls on this one, or if I did, I'm getting two of them mixed up. I did get a few phone calls when I was not in the office, so there were messages about people just making sure that the variance wasn't proposing to go onto their property. So it wasn't necessarily expressing concerns. I didn't get any written letters or actual phone conversations with anyone expressing concerns about any of the applications.
Thank you. Do you all have any more questions of the applicant?
Well, for my clarification, based on what was said, as far as he hasn't received approval to use the existing septic, and I guess I just want to clear this up in my head. If they come and they check his septic system and says, well, the current system's too small, or it's something, blah, blah, whatever. And then they say, well, you can put it on another location on your site, just not here, because you'll need more lateral lines, or you got to go something, whatever the health department, whatever they do. If we move forward with approving the variance and then they end up placing the manufactured house somewhere else on the lot, does it have to come back, or do we not worry about that?
If they move the septic system and the applicant decides they want to move the house to get closer to it or something, then they've got to come back. All we are approving is this particular footprint. So if they use this footprint,
that clears me up.
Then we're satisfied. Okay.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
We had a guy that came out and looked at the septic system, and he didn't look at it as approval of using the existing one, but he measured and surveyed the new location of the house. And as far as distance from the lagoon and the angle that the pipe has to be at, he said all that would work out fine. So I think at this point, the location is good. We just haven't found out if we can use the existing tank or we need to put a new tank in its place.
I understand. I just wanted some clarification for for the future knowledge.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion that we approve application number S-2020-12, Jeremy and Jessica Murphy, for a variance for the side yard setback from 50 feet to 14 feet for residents at 188 JB Lear Lane.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Charlie, did you get which one?
Yes.
All those in favor?
That was Sonia's seconds.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Then we have approval for 2020-12 for Jeremy and Jessica Murphy. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we go to S-2020-13 for Jeffrey and Sabra Abshire for a variance to reduce their front yard setback.
Yep. All right. So Jeffrey and Sabra Abshire are applying for a variance to reduce the front yard setback from 50 feet to 39 feet for a residence at 257 Wrights Lane. Let's see. So you can kind of see the whole project site here. To the right, it's a rather larger lot. Well, not super large, sorry. It's 4.1 acres in size, but you can see that it kind of comes to the back here where it has some more topographical challenges. It's also about 400 feet back from the road. So once you start looking at the front here, this is the drawing that they had. So this is where the existing home was that has since been removed, but it's where a previous residence once stood. So it's right in the front there of that lot. So it has a pretty narrow depth in this area. But like I said, the area in the back, that's the only other usable part of the lot that's wide enough, is about 400 feet back from the road. There is an existing utility line running along the northern boundary here. Then with the existing residence there, or, you know, the previous residence was there. So this seems like the most feasible and reasonable location to place the residence on this project site. The applicant is proposing to meet the rear yard setback of the 50 feet. And then in the front, it's going to be 47 feet on that right there from the street, but it's going to be 39 feet on the western side. So it is going to encroach about 11 feet, but they did push it back from where the previous residence was to try and comply with the setback regulations as much as possible. So with that, I am recommending approval of the application, just with this area being the most reasonable location on the project site to build a residence and not having sufficient depth to really be able to meet the setback requirements without getting some sort of variance. I am recommending approval of it.
All right. Charlie, would you like to swear in the applicants?
Yes, are they on?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, do you swear or affirm the statement you're about to give is the truth to the best of your information and belief?
yes. Oh,
Will,
thought
can
you had to
you
have both.
explain what you're going to do?
I'm sorry.
Just give us some more information. Explain to us what you're.
Okay, we bought this property that's adjoining up the rest of our property. And it had an old trailer on it that was squeezed together, two old trailers squeezed together, and it was 33 feet and 45 feet off the roadway. And we're wanting to build a house that is 39 feet and 47 feet off the roadway. Is it working? I'm sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. That's what we would like to do. We've already tore it down October 3rd of 2018 when we purchased the property, and it's just been an ongoing, just trying to move forward.
Okay.
We had the septic repaired. We had it pumped out, and Gene, we've talked to them, the health department, and if this does not meet the requirements on septic, there is other options on this property, but we feel that it is working right now. And we, as Martin's cleaners came in and cleaned the tank, they said our baffles needed to be repaired, and we have made repairs to the baffles, both baffles on the tanks. So we've repaired the septic system for the previous house. And we're wanting to move it back away from the road, but we can't get it all the way off the road for the 50 feet for the size of the house we would like to build.
Okay.
And if I'm hollering, I'm sorry, I can't hear my computer real good. So I don't want to holler at you all. I don't know how good you can hear me.
We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you
Sorry.
you have questions of Jeremy?
Charlie, you don't see anything?
No, seems perfectly reasonable.
Okay.
Yep.
And Michaela, have you had any questions or concerns from surrounding neighbors?
Nope, not that I'm aware of. I'm not sure if there's any members of the public that are here to speak on this application, but it looks like all our attendees are applicants still, so.
Okay.
All right. Charlie, do you have any comments or guidance?
Only I'm waiting for Madam Chair to get a motion.
All right. Motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve 2020-13, taking into account the staff recommendations.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is that Sonia whispering again?
Yes.
Stop whispering.
You know, this is so different from sitting beside you. That's all I can say.
That's what I'm thinking.
You know you miss me, Charlie.
I just miss you terribly.
All right, we have a motion. And I need a vote, please, for S 2020-13. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, then it looks like approved for 2020-13 for them to be able to make their variance for the front yard.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you
all.
all. Thank
Good luck.
you all. Thank you.
Hey, Charlie,
Yes.
why don't you ever accuse me of whispering?
Well, you know, as soon as I detect it, I'm going to.
All right, we'll move on to S 2020-14. For Mark and Judith Raby, who are applying for a variance to reduce their side yard setback. Michaela?
Yep, it looks like we don't have anyone here to represent that application right now. I did get a message from him saying that he was anticipating being late, but I'd recommend if you guys are okay with it to move him to the end of the agenda, and then if we don't hear from him by then, we'll just have to go ahead and postpone.
All right. Then we'll go on to 2020-16, which is Michelle Leach for a conditional use for a secondary dwelling.
All right. Like you said, Michelle Leach is applying for a conditional use permit for a secondary dwelling unit at 145 Hess Branch, zoning A1. There is an existing cabin on the project site now. The applicant is looking to build their primary residence on the site. At this time, the applicant has indicated that no one's going to reside in the cabin. I did include in the conditions that it could only be used for family members or hired farm workers, but that might be something that you want to address because that is a requirement for the conditional use permit. My understanding is that they just want to be able to use the cabin to be able to build their primary home, and then I'm not sure if they have plans to remove it, or it sounded like they might just use it as like a guest house for when family members come to visit. The only other thing is I didn't receive a drawing for this application, so I'm not sure where the proposed structure is going to be, but as is typical with these applications, we would ask that it's 100 feet away from the existing residence now and does meet all setback requirements. This is something, the 100-foot separation is something that the health department's asked for in the past and also allows for future subdivision, and it would still be meeting the setback requirements. So I'm not sure if you guys have any questions for me or.
How many acres is it?
I forgot to include that. Let me pull up the staff report. I believe it's 15, but let me double check that. It's 20 acres actually, 20 acres, and it's zoned A1 agricultural, and all the surrounding properties are also zoned A1. So it does have sufficient space with the 20 acres and only one existing dwelling on it. So as far as that's concerned, it is meeting our requirements.
Okay, is the applicant online?
She is in attendance. I'm not sure. It looks like she's been bumped up to a panelist, but doesn't have video or audio on. I'm not sure. Michelle, if you're able to hear us, if you could unmute your mic so we could hear you.
Do any of the rest of you on the panel have any questions or discussion about this while we're waiting to see if she can get access?
Again, Michaela, you haven't had any concerns from any of the surrounding neighbors?
I did get one call just asking to see what she was looking to do, but they didn't seem too concerned about the proposal. So
okay. Charlie, you see nothing wrong with it?
Well, Michaela, you were saying that, or at least I think you were saying that the immediate plans for this second dwelling aren't clear or aren't known.
I would say the long-term plans aren't known. The immediate plan, as far as my understanding from conversations I've had with the applicant, is that they're looking to use this cabin as sort of a temporary dwelling while they build their
Oh, I
home
see.
on the project site. So it's kind of, a transition to actually build their primary residence on the site. But their long-term plan is unclear. They had, mentioned removing it, but I don't know if that's something that they're definitely going to do or not. And if not, my only real concern would be who's using the cabin. Because the conditional use permit is very clear that it can only be family members or hired farm workers. So it can't be used as a rental unit, or it can't be used as an Airbnb, something like a long-term rental or Airbnb or anything like that. It would have to just be used as, family visitors or a long-term family member, or a hired farm worker, or they would have to subdivide the property.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, correct. Or they would have to do a subdivision plat. It would have to be on its own 5-acre tract, and then they
Mhm.
can do whatever they can do with the dwelling.
Yeah.
I guess my only thought, to answer your question, Janet, is as long as we make that clear in our approval, should there be one, especially the 100-foot separation, because that way they're not creating the need for a variance down the road in order to do something else with this thing. And that in the meantime, it's got to be either family, which they'd qualify for that. They're members of their own family, or a hired worker, 100-foot minimum. And then that way down the road, if they want to do something else with it, obviously we've got to perhaps do an inspection, because Hess Branch is not the most accessible property in Scott County. But since it is big enough to make those adjustments, no, I really don't see a big problem with it.
Yep. And those conditions, I did make those conditions of approval as well. The 100-foot separation and needing to be a family member or a hired farm worker.
Excellent.
The information I looked at on the PBA on the quote unquote cabin, it appears to be one of these buildings that are built and brought in on a truck. It's like you see these storage buildings. The PBA reports it being 384 square feet. It's pretty small. It doesn't look to be real property. It looks to be personal property to me. It does have a nice pole barn that's probably larger than the cabin, but it's pretty insignificant as far as when I first saw the application, I thought cabin. I'm thinking big, log cabin or something a little more permanent. This appears to be more of a, in my world, I'd refer to it as a personal property unit. So
Yeah, it's just
FYI.
because the ordinance defines it as a dwelling, but yeah, I don't know that it would
Right.
function as much as a dwelling. But it looks like we have Michelle's video now. Michelle, are you able to unmute your mic? If you see where the red mic, there you go. Nope.
I can see her.
Yeah, it looks like it says your mic's unmuted, but we can't hear you. I'm not sure why that's the case.
Michelle, can you hear us?
Do you see any settings for your mic? You might have to switch it to, if you have any Bluetooth speakers hooked up or anything, it might be going to that.
Yeah, I might ask the question, if no one has a specific question for her, it may not be that critical that she finds that red button or
Exactly.
whatever button and wherever button.
Do any of the members on the panel have a question for her?
I do not.
I
I
will entertain a motion.
So quick question, Michaela. Everything we've discussed then, you have covered all of these conditions in your recommendations, correct?
That's correct. You can see it in the staff report, but I can go over it briefly. For I have all standard conditions for the first three. Number 4 is the applicant shall build the secondary single-family residence at least 100 feet from the current residence and each other to eliminate the need for a variance should the property be subdivided in the future. And then number 5 is the cabin shall only be occupied by family members or hired farm workers. If the cabin is ever occupied or rented to a tenant that is not a family member or farm worker, the cabin will need to be removed or the property will need to be subdivided. And if you wanted me to, reading it now, I could change cabin to secondary dwelling. That way it could apply to either structure. So.
I think moving it to secondary dwelling is good.
Okay, I will do that for my write-up.
Okay, do I have a motion for this application?
I'll move that we approve application S 2020-16 for Michelle Leach requesting a conditional use permit for a secondary dwelling unit at 145 Hess Branch, subject to all staff recommendations with the one correction Michaela has mentioned.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh,
All those in favor to approve this?
Aye.
We have all approval for this motion? Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a motion and we have a second. We all in approval?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I couldn't hear you.
Oh.
So we have approval. I was like, what happened? So we have approval for S 2020-16. Thank you all. So then do we go back to the Rave? Yes, 2020-14.
yes, we could go ahead and go back. It looks like, oh, yep, it looks like Mark is on now as a panelist, so.
Okay.
Oh, great, I can go back to that on the slideshow here. All right, so S-2020-14, Mark and Judith Raby are applying for a variance to reduce the side yard setback from 50 feet to 20 feet for a run-in shed at 744 Anderson Road, zoning A1 agricultural. All the surrounding properties are also zoned A1. This is an existing shed that we found out was not in compliance with the zoning ordinance. I did reach out to Jim Burgess at building inspection, and it sounds like no building permit was pulled for this run-in shed. He did indicate that, you know, whether you guys choose to approve it or not, a building permit will need to be obtained for this structure moving forward. But essentially it came to our attention because the applicant is proposing a minor transfer and consolidation plat. The plat itself isn't going to allow the shed to meet the setback requirements. It's still going to be 20.3 feet away from that corner there. It is a 16 by 24 inch foot run-in shed. As far as the variance request, the project site does have some topographical challenges. So the applicant did say that it was harder to push it further back from the corner to make it meet the setback requirements. It looks like they do have a little bit of space in their backyard, but the house and the garage appear to be some of the most flat spaces on the project site, as well as where the shed is located now. Other than that, the project site isn't undersized or anything of that nature. So I'd say, you know, if you're looking for reasons as to why he put it in that location, it was most likely due to topographical issues. But one of the findings that's necessary for a variance request is to ensure that the applicant didn't have a willful violation of the zoning ordinance. So that's a question that staff had. So that's why I didn't make a recommendation on this application, is because I'm not sure if the applicant was aware that they needed to obtain a building permit and didn't do so, if they're aware of the 50-foot setback requirements, and, you know, had a willful violation of the zoning ordinance. If that was the case, state statute does say that you shouldn't approve the variance request. So that is something to keep in mind. But beyond that, you would have to decide if, you know, that was the most allowing the variance, this is the most reasonable use, you're allowing reasonable use of the property, and that this was the most optimal location on the site for the run and shed, or if you feel there's sufficient space on the property to allow for it to meet the setback requirements. So.
All right. Charlie, I think the applicant is live now, so if you would like to swear him in.
Yes, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the statement you're about to give to be the truth to the best of your information and belief?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So would you please explain to us how we got here?
Well, number one, I didn't think a run-in shed needed a permit, so that was obviously my mistake. Michaela's right as far as placing the building there was really the only level place in the back portion. My property backs up to my father-in-law's, and before, I hate to say it, but before he passes, we wanted to incorporate that building onto our 5-acre tract. So when we surveyed it is when I obviously found out that that building was 20 feet from the property line. And again, I guess I wasn't visualizing a run-in shed had to be 50 feet from a property line. I do have a workshop next to the house that I did acquire a permit for and stayed within 50 feet, but I guess I never realized a run-in shed played under the same rules.
All right. Do any of you have questions?
Yeah, so when was the shed built?
What are we in? Probably the fall of the year, September, October. I don't have the folder handy on when it was built, but this is in the fall of the year.
19?
Yes, sir.
Of what? Of 19.
Yes, sir.
So then you actually built the building on your father-in-law's property. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So then you came back and acquired the parcel 1, which is that 1 3/3 of an acre.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Have we had concerns from neighbors?
No, David Hutnell's my neighbor, and I've talked to him, and obviously we're close, and he has no problem with that building being 20 feet from that corner, which is really the corner of his property.
I've also gotten no phone calls about this application.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other discussions? Do any of you all have any discussion?
My only thought would be if we were looking for a willful violation, as he stated when he built the other building that he knew required one, he did go through the proper channels and he just did this unaware that he needed to do so. So I would not really consider that a willful violation. Do y'all feel the same way, or?
Charlie, do we have to weigh in on that, or?
I would suggest, I mean, I agree with Sonia, but yeah, I would suggest making that part of the motion.
Right.
That just clarifies the record.
Okay.
And because it sounds like it clearly was not a willful violation. And he also testified that its topography was the reason. It would probably be a good idea to incorporate that in the motion.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or discussion?
So has parcel 1 been combined with parcel 3 at this point?
No, we don't allow for anything to be recorded if there's an outstanding violation. So he will, if you guys choose to approve the variance request, then we could go ahead and start moving forward. He would still need to obtain a building permit from building inspection. And then that would be completed.
Okay.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for this applicant.
I'll make the motion that we approve S-2020-14, taking into account the staff recommendations and also stating, as Charlie has pointed out, that we do not believe there was a willful violation.
Do I have a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Darren, second by Sonia. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Then we approve 2020-14 for the staff recommendations and well, thank you, Mark.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Will somebody send me a permit or can I stop in and pick that up somewhere?
You'll have to go to the building.
I'll send you a letter that says that you were approved for the variance, and then you'll need to contact building inspection to go ahead and go through their permitting process. And then once that's complete, then we can go ahead and move forward with your plan.
Okay. All right. So you'll send me something email wise?
Yeah, I'll email you something here either tomorrow or Monday. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Do we have any other items on the agenda?
Nope, nothing additional. I think we're all set unless you guys had anything else to discuss.
Well, just for me to learn,
Mhm.
if any farm puts a run-in shed on it, do they have to have a building permit?
I don't know exactly what building inspections requirements are, because sometimes there are farmstead exemptions, so I think that gets you out of inspections and whatnot. But either way, you would have to contact their office to get, whatever they do require for something of that nature. I know anything above 120 square feet typically requires some type of permitting or at least, acknowledgement from building inspection that's being built. So unfortunately, I'm not more familiar with their process, but I know it needs something from them. So.
Okay, I was just wondering. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
You're the chair, you just bring down the hammer.
We're adjourning.
Excellent, I love it.
Bye, everybody.